Hi guys, it's Maddie, and today we're doing another little like sit down video, which I haven't done in a really long time, but that's just because I've been doing lots of vlogging and stuff and like nothing else, and all the times that I've been wanting to film I've been like all drugged out because I just had surgery. Me and my big swollen foot. So I've basically been doing nothing for like weeks. So today we are sitting down and we're going to talk about my ghost. If you guys don't know, which I don't know why you wouldn't because I only make these videos for me and like my 3 or 4 friends, I have a ghost and her name is C. Okay, so let me like backtrack a little bit because I don't know, this is weird. Anyways, so yes, I have a ghost, her name is C, and I figured this out because I collect antiques, like a lot of them. I don't know why, I'm just like obsessed with them. So when I was getting some of these antiques, I started noticing like weird things happening in my house and whatever. And I could never really figure out what it was, and I think I finally figured out what she's attached to. I'm finally making the video because I feel comfortable talking about it in my house because I think she's gone because my friend Nicole, who's on my channel all the time, she actually bought me like a sage candle and I've been burning that and stuff, and I haven't really noticed too many things happening recently. Basically, to start off, I was actually going garage sailing for this particular one that I got. I mean, okay, they're right there, I'll just show them. Okay. Yes, I know this is creepy, but I have them hanging from my ceiling. The 2 clowns are the antiques that I think she's connected to because those are the ones I bought. Oh, I just ruined my camera angle. Thank you, Maddie. So yeah, I went to the garage sale and I got those guys above me. And originally I wasn't going to get them because I was like, well, you know, they don't look old, they don't seem old, whatever. But I was talking to the lady who was actually in charge of the garage sale, and she was talking to me about how she was moving and how these dolls, she had to get rid of them because her, like basically her entire family was like terrified of them. And she was talking about how she had them hanging above her bar in her basement and they like stood up and then fell onto the ground, is how her kids described it. So her kids are like, it's haunted, whatever. And she was telling me that she got these dolls in Germany. It was like an old-fashioned circus that they had around like in the olden days, whatever. She was just telling me it was this old circus that they bought it from when they went to Germany, and they were showing me all these photos and whatever. So I was like, okay, that's a cool backstory, like whatever, even if these aren't antiques or vintage or whatever, that's a cool story, so I want to get it. So I got them, and I got them pretty cheap because I talked to her for a while, and so she brought down the price for me, which now I see why. I mean, when I first got them, I didn't notice anything weird at all. I was just kind of like, everyone thinks they look creepy, and I don't know what to do with them, so I was like, since I'm redecorating my room, which I still haven't finished, obviously, because it takes me 3 years to redecorate a room, good job, me. I was like, well, since I'm redecorating, I don't know what I'm doing with them, I'll just hang them up, because they're string puppets, and so like, I don't know, I didn't want them sitting around where they could get tangled or like my mom or my brother could ruin them, you know? And like literally everyone I know has told me they're so creepy and they don't know why the heck I have them hanging from my ceiling. And like it doesn't creep me out that much. Like it's weird, but like it's not that bad. But after a while, it was like, it was fine, it was normal, I didn't really care, I didn't, you know, pay attention to it. But I do have a Ouija board. I've owned this Ouija board since I was like 8. I got them before like all the movies came out and stuff. I just was really fascinated by them. I don't know. I watched weird movies as a kid. And so I was just like, I really wanted a Ouija board one year and I don't know why. And so I got one. This is my Ouija board that I have. And yes, it's pink. I don't know. It was the only one my Aunt Marcy could find because they weren't popular at the time. One time, my friend Isabel and Piper came over and they wanted to play the Ouija board. You know, casual sleepover things you do, you know, girls, pillow fights, doing nails, sacrificing yourself to Satan, casual. Yeah, so they wanted to play the Ouija board, and so we were playing it, and, you know, at first I was like, okay, they're definitely moving it, you know, like, my friend Piper, she's not exactly the most, like, truthful, I guess, but I thought the whole time that she was moving it because my friend Isabella was very much into, like, spiritual stuff at the time, and she wanted to believe it, and so she wanted it to be real and didn't want to like ruin it. So she like promised me she wasn't moving it, and I could tell by the way she was moving her hand, like she was moving after the thing would move. But that's besides the point, that's later. We were playing this and we were talking to a spirit named C, just the letter C, and that's just like what she went by. And we were talking to her, she seemed really nice, like she didn't seem like too much of like a bad energy or something, because her movements on the board were very like light and swift, which was nice, and it was like wasn't a heavy feeling like something bad was there, you know, that feeling you get. And it was just asking her like casual questions, just like, you know, how old are you and where did you live, like how, like, you know, stuff like that. But I didn't explain all of the rules to my friends before we started playing, because I wanted to make sure that if they were like moving it, I would know, which isn't a good idea on my part, because, you know, I did find out that they weren't moving it, but I also found out that like my friend is a loudmouth and she didn't ask the right questions. So basically we were having a normal conversation and we were asking C some certain questions and whatever. We asked C, well okay, I guess I should explain some of the rules so this makes sense before I get into like what we did wrong. But basically when you're playing the Ouija board, there should only be one speaker and like one main person, because during like a session, is what they call it, the spirit takes energy from one person, so they have a connection to your like world, because it's basically like a portal into your world. And I know this sounds like crazy, but this is just what it is. This is how I learned and what it is. So for the time being, since it was their first time and like my first time in a really long time, I was the speaker because it's my house. And we were doing it in the basement. We were doing it in a bedroom or anything like that. You're not even supposed to do it in a house, but like bedrooms are 10 times worse, which I haven't done. I was the speaker and Piper completely took over the board and was like asking questions over me, and at first C wasn't responding to her because I was the speaker, but then eventually she got mad and started replying. During the questions, Piper yelled over me, "How did you die?" And you know, she didn't really say anything, she just ignored it, and I moved on to like a different question. And then Piper was like, you know, how old are you? When did you die? Like, what is your age? Whatever. Was asking all these questions. And on the question, when did you die? She answered 1, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 1, 3, 4, 5. And at first we were kind of just like, okay, like, is that a year? Because that makes no sense, you know? Like, that's so long ago. And then we were like, well, maybe she did it backwards. And I was like, that still doesn't make any sense. And so we were like, okay, well, what if it's like a date, which would be like January 3rd and then 45, you know? Which is weird. I was thinking like, well, maybe it's flipped, because before we had asked her where she was from and she said she was from Germany. And the dolls are from Germany. So I was like, okay, it's the dolls, you know? We were like, okay, well, in Germany, the dates, it's the day first, then the month. So then that would be the 1st of March. No, wait. How do the months work? January, February, March. Yeah. The 1st of March. And then that year. And I forget what we did. It's either we moved some dates around or that was the right date. But we came to figure out that that was a couple days before the Holocaust ended. And when this clicked in Piper's mind, she basically was like, did you die in the Holocaust? And whew, was that a question? She was obviously upset about that question, which just confirmed that, like, yeah, she was probably in the Holocaust. Because she was, you know, from Germany. The dolls are from Germany, from like back then. They got it from a circus. And there's a thing that spirits do, and typically it's bad spirits that do this, that they try to break out of the board so that they can like basically become a poltergeist, which they can like touch things in this world or whatever. One of the ways they do that is they can either make shapes on the board, or they can go through the alphabet. And so when Piper asked this, the thing got like really heavy and started going through the alphabet, and so I was like, okay, change it to yes or no questions and whatever. I forget what we asked her, but we asked her a question and she just kept going to the number 7. And we'd be like, what does 7 mean? Because I don't think it really went with our question. I wish I could remember what it was, but nobody can remember. And we asked her like 3 times, and every time she went to the number 7. And we were like, okay, well, I don't know what that means, you know? And I was gonna ask her one more time and then drop the question, move on to something else. But before I could, Piper got frustrated because she was like, I'm done waiting, you know, because it took kind of a while, you know. It was like a couple minutes in between each question because we would have to wait for her to go and finish the answer because they can get confused or angry if you cut them off, even if you know what they're saying, you know. And she cut it off and she was like, is that how many kids you had? And I was so terrified when this happened. After she asked that question, it immediately stopped. It got like as heavy as a brick, like it felt like she had like grabbed your whole hand and was squeezing it, and it flung to no, and then it like whipped around and my hand flew off of the thing. And there's no possible way it was either of them. So on the part I was on this part, and then they were on these 2 parts. Now for me, it was like going this way and then it whipped around like that. So there's no possible way that they were the ones to move it unless both of them moved it. And they didn't. They like, my friend Isabella got so horrified that she wouldn't play anymore the rest of the night. And like my other friend Piper just wanted to keep going. And it was honestly like terrifying. And you could just tell that she was in a really like, she was not happy after that. My friend immediately was like, okay, she's from the Holocaust, she got separated from her kids, and it's a touchy subject, like her kids died or something, and then she died. And so we were like, yeah, probably. I mean, like, if she's from the Holocaust and she died a couple days before the Holocaust ended, then sorry. For the rest of the time, like, anytime Piper would ask a question, it would get heavy and like a horrible feeling, like angry feeling, and like you did not want to be there with her asking the questions. So, you know, we tried to make her not ask the questions as much. It was just weird. But we basically ended the session after that because she was still trying to break out of the board throughout this whole thing. Another bad sign that happened was that sessions are usually only supposed to last like 15 minutes at the most. And a bad sign is when you've lost track of time. So during that whole experience, our session was like an hour. We had lost an hour and thought we had only been playing for like 10 minutes. Like, all of us started feeling so like sick. Like, I was shaking trying to hold on to the thing. I was literally shaking like that. I was like this. Not even like exaggerating. I was like trying to hold on to the piece while we were still playing. And you know, later we researched it, and it's because since I was the person talking and we had been playing for so long, I was like low on energy, I guess, because it sucked so much out of me. That's just like what we researched. I don't know if like you believe in that or if that's true or whatever it may be, but like that's what was happening. And everyone just like felt sick. I felt so dizzy, like I was gonna pass out, and like those are not good signs at all, like at all. So we just like stopped playing and then put it away, and like my friend went and grabbed this big Bible I have in my basement, and was just like hugging it in her blanket. It was so funny. After that, like, you know, I just hear noises at night, and she started being like more active and whatever, and like I'd see the dolls move and stuff and whatever, and I just assumed like, oh, it's the wind, oh, it's like, you know, there's something moving around, it's the cat, you know, making noises, whatever. But there were a lot of things where I could just tell that like it's her, it's not anything else. So within the first month of hearing all these weird things and whatever, I was laying in bed, and it was like midnight to 1 a.m, something like that. It was pretty late in the night. Maybe it might have been 2, I'm not sure. I was just like on my phone hanging out. I was like kind of starting to fall asleep, and my door was shut, so my cat wasn't in the room, so I know for a fact it's not my cat. But I had my blanket over me, and I was laying down, and then I felt, oh, this is gonna sound so creepy, I hate talking about this, but I felt like hands crawling on me up my legs, and then it stopped like right about here. And I thought it was my cat, you know? I thought it was just my cat coming to climb on me and on my chest and stuff, because she usually does that, and so I didn't really think about anything. But then I realized, like, the paws that I thought they were like hand-sized. They were gigantic. And it was like, I could feel it, it was like slow. It was like, and like, it was horrifying. And it was like heavy, like I could actually feel like someone was crawling on me. And I went, like, I moved my leg and it felt like an actual thing, not like a shadow or like me making something up in my mind. Like, it legit was like a hand on me. And so I flipped out, I went under the blanket, turned my flashlight on, and then like flipped the blanket over really fast, and nothing was there, obviously. I didn't see anything, I just went to bed immediately. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I turned like my lights on for like an hour, and then I just went to bed. It was not fun. Well, you know, I'd hear little noises here and then, whatever. So the next month came, and I was having a sleepover with those two again. This time, things got a little weird. So we had a sleepover in between these times a little bit, and like nothing had really happened. It was just like whatever, just like small little things. We tried to play the Ouija board, nothing was really coming through, but it was like pretty early in the night, so obviously they had a sleepover. Oh wait, never mind, that came later. Hold on, that came later. There's a story that happened before this. So I thought this was afterwards because it made sense, but it's actually before that this happened. So basically, before we had that sleepover, it was like a week or two before that sleepover, because they, wow, voice crack, puberty, hello, because they wanted to have a sleepover because this happened. So basically, same situation, I was laying in bed, it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I know it was later because of like how intense this was. And I know for a fact I wasn't dreaming that night. I wasn't tired at all. I was like completely awake. I was sitting up. I just could not go to sleep, and I couldn't figure out why. And I had my headphones in and I was like watching YouTube, obviously, if you know me. And I reached over to grab my water. And as I reached over, I looked on my floor and I saw the most horrifying thing in the world. Oh my god. Like, oh. So basically, I reached over and I looked at my floor and I saw a girl, a woman on my floor. Oh, I'm getting chills, oh my god. Okay, I saw a woman on my floor. It was like, oh my god, I don't know how to describe her. I assumed it was C because C was the only ghost I had at the time. And so I like know for a fact that it was C. And like I got it confirmed later those 2 weeks because I asked her about it and she said yes. She said that it was her. But basically, it was like, I don't know how to describe it. It was like a black silhouette, but it was like 3D. And like it was like a shadow person, you know? It was like on the ground, like hunched up, and she was like eating. She was like doing this with her mouth, and like her hair was all like, I think it was like curly, like crazy, and I'm not sure. But she was like this, and like hunched over, like eating something, I assumed. That's what it looked like. And then I know it wasn't just like a light reflection or a shadow or something, because when I saw it, I like clenched onto my water bottle and it like made a crinkling noise. And as soon as that happened, this thing literally went from going like this to looked up and like looked at me. And its eyes were like, they were like dead eyes. If you've ever seen like a dead person's eyes, they were like illuminated and they were like whited over because they were like dead, but they were like blue illuminated, like moonlight kind of. And like I don't know how to describe it, but it was horrifying because I thought it was just a reflection. I thought it was just like some weird shadow shape and I was just seeing things because I used to get sleep paralysis a lot, which I can do another video on that. But it literally like moved. It turned its head and looked at me and like was getting ready to like crawl towards me. Like I saw it move its hand. It was just, I know she's not like mean, I think, but it was terrifying. And I literally like grabbed my phone and turned my flashlight on and like stayed under my blankets for a couple minutes and then went back up. Nothing was there. Same thing as before. And there was like, I turned on different lights. I moved things around. There's no way that it could have been a shadow. Like I checked. And like I don't know. I've been trying to make excuses for everything. I literally don't know how else to explain what that was. So when I told them about it, they came over and they were like, okay, we're playing the Ouija board again. And I was like, wow, this is such a good idea. But, you know, I say yes to anything. So we were playing the Ouija board. And this time it got kind of interesting. They came over, we were hanging out, doing whatever, we were playing, or we weren't playing, we were using these runes. In all this time that, like, we had been waiting to play the Ouija board again, over those 2 months, I had gotten more antiques, obviously, because I always get antiques. Well, we played the Ouija board. You know, it was like, we were talking to C and whatever, and it seemed nice, we were just, like, getting to know her a little more, we had some more questions. She really wasn't answering, like, anything other than yes or no questions. Anytime we'd ask like a different question, she'd just try to break out of the board, which is like, whatever, we were getting it under control. She just seemed to get more and more agitated as it went on, because I think she just really does not like my friend Piper, like at all. Because anytime Piper would ask a question, she'd just get more mad and mad and mad and like heavy and like bad feeling. It was weird. I don't know. We were like, okay, we've asked enough questions with her, like we want to talk to somebody else, because one of our questions that we asked was like, how many other spirits are in my house? And she said, besides her, there are 3 other spirits in my house. You know, I wanted to talk to the other ones because my mom has always been convinced that like my grandpa still wanders around the house and stuff. I don't know if I believe my mom or not, just because she's a little woohoo. But she used to say that like she'd have this one reoccurring dream about her and her dad, my grandpa. And it was like whenever she was worried or something was happening, she would have this dream about them in the car together and driving down the road, and he'd be giving her advice for whatever was happening in her life at that time. Either the night before or the next night after having this dream, she'd be going to bed and the light fixture next to her bed would like make this buzzing noise and it would flicker. You know, my mom works in lighting, so she like did everything to fix this light and it still did it, and so she was like convinced that it was my grandpa trying to talk to her. I've seen it firsthand and I was just like, oh, it's like a loose cord, whatever, and she's like, no, it's not, like I swear I fixed it, like it's him. And so I was like, okay. So, you know, when we were playing the board, I wanted to see if he was here or not. We were talking to C and we were like, okay, C, thank you so much for talking to us, but we'd really appreciate it if we could talk to somebody else, and we'll talk to you again later or something. So we were like, can we talk to somebody else? And she said no, like immediately. Like before it had been very light and swift, and she like very fast swiftly, like it wasn't heavy, it was just really fast. She went to no. So we were like, okay, why can't we talk to anyone? And then she just tried to break out of the board. So then we were like, okay, well, you know, can you tell us about who else is there? Like, why can't we talk to anybody? You know, she just kept saying no for everything, and we were like, okay, well, we're gonna say goodbye and then try to talk to somebody else. So we closed out the board and then we reopened it and tried to talk to somebody else, and every single time she'd come back and like take over. Well, you know, we decided to leave it for a while, and we came back after like an hour or 2, and things got like weird. I don't know how to describe it, but Isabella wanted to talk to her grandpa. Like that's what she wanted to do from the beginning of like playing this board, like the months before. So we were finally like, okay, well maybe if we can like convince C to leave us alone and like we call out to her grandpa, then he'll answer. You know, we opened the board and we were like, hey, is whatever his name is out there, and like we really want to talk to you, like Isabella's here, and saying all this stuff and whatever to basically like call forth, like we looked it up how to do it, and it said like that's how you call forth a spirit. So we did that and we were waiting, and then someone answered finally. It was definitely not C. The way I knew just like right from the start that it wasn't her at all was the movement of the planchette, the little piece, the hand piece, was very heavy and jagged, and like just this, you just had this like gloomy, like weird feeling. It just wasn't a good feeling. And so we were like, okay, this is somebody else. And like everything just seemed heavy. Like the air seemed heavy. I don't know how to explain it, but like you just like your back felt really heavy, and like the mood changed and everything was different. It was weird. like as soon as this person answered. So we were talking to them for a little while and we were like, who is this? Like, is this Isabella's grandpa? And it said yes. And then I was like, okay, well, we need to ask it questions to see like if it's really him. So Isabella, when her grandpa passed away, he gave her this necklace. It's beautiful. It's this necklace and it's like a golden nugget thing on like a long gold chain, and like, oh, it's beautiful. I love it. But she was wearing that and she was like, to see if this is really you, what did you give me before you died? And this thing just like stopped in its tracks, and it was like very heavy, and it was, you could tell that it was like tiptoeing about its answer, and like it was very, very slow, and like it was catching on the board, and like it was just like jagged and ugh. And it went to P-E-N, and it stopped at N for a really long time, and we're about to like interrupt it and ask a different question or say something, and then immediately, like right before we were gonna say something, went to no. You know, we were like, what do you mean? And it just started trying to break out the board, and we were like, okay, who is this? Because Isabella immediately after it was saying like, because we thought it was gonna spell out pendant instead of like necklace, because it is pendant. And Isabella, after it went to no, she was just like, this is not him. Like, not at all. She was like, who is this? This is not my grandpa. Who is this? And the person, whoever it was, said, this is C. And we were like, this is definitely not C. And we were like, okay, well, if you're C, then tell us the date you told us the first time we, you know, spoke to you. And the thing went to, or 2 numbers, then a letter, then it went to no. And we were like, okay, this isn't C. And we were like, are you C? And it said no. And we were like, okay, then who are you? It gave us like, it was either like an R or like, I really don't remember what it called itself, but we just call it the impersonator, because he was like trying to impersonate these different people. And you know, originally me and Isabella thought it was our friend Piper making stuff up and like pretending, but after that he was just like pretending to be these people, and we were like trying to ask it questions, and it basically was ignoring us and just trying to break out of the board the whole entire time. So we were like, okay, well, we're gonna say goodbye. And like, it was very hard to say goodbye, because he was definitely trying to make us not, like forcing us not to say goodbye. You know, we finally like said goodbye, and it like gave in, whatever. And we were like, okay, well, we're gonna watch a movie now. And I think we were gonna watch like Jennifer's Body, but we were getting ready to turn it on, and we were gonna go like make popcorn. And by this time it's like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, something like that. It was pretty late, and we were just gonna watch this movie to fall asleep on the couch. Our friend Piper was acting really weird, and I don't know if it's because she wanted attention, or she was like trying to pull a prank on us, or whatever. She was just like tired and like being a brat. Sorry, I don't know. But she started acting really weird. She wasn't talking to us anymore. She wanted to play the Ouija board by herself, which is a number 1, like, do not do. Like, it's a huge, if you believe in possession and that kind of stuff, you will get possessed. Like, that's why it's a big rule. It's because you were very vulnerable when you play by yourself. So she like wanted to play by herself. She started playing by herself when we went upstairs to get food, which I didn't know, which is, you know, to me really disrespectful, because that's my house, you know, you could open stuff up in my house, and I don't know. Anyways, she was just acting really weird. She wasn't talking to anyone, and she was just like, her answers were snippy and like weren't her. When we went up to get food, when she started playing the board by herself and she didn't tell us, you know, me and Isabella were just like, what is going on? Like, she's talking like the impersonator guy. She's not talking like her. I don't know what happened, but like, it was just really weird. And so, you know, Isabella was really freaked out. She was like turning on all the lights, and she was like grabbing my Bible and she was grabbing like stuff that was made out of silver, because that's another thing that helps. And I was like, if you're really, really freaked out, like, I have a candle. Like, I have that sage candle. And she was like, go get it. Piper was just being like so weird, and like, she didn't want anything to do with the stuff that Isabella had. She was staying away from it. She kept complaining about how like she was freezing cold, like ice cold, and she was like shaking, and like her skin was really cold too, which I was like, it was weird because like the basement was cold after we played the game, but it wasn't like that cold, you know? And she even had like a big wool blanket on her. I went and got like the sage candle and like started to burn it, and you know, she saw it, she was like, oh my god, get that away from me and whatever. And I was like, oh god, like either she's just like playing this up as a prank and being like, haha, like I'm Satan, stay away from me, you know what I mean? Or like something's going on. And I was just like, she's on her period, I'm gonna leave her alone. But I don't know. So I was like burning the candle, we started watching the movie. You know, I finally blew out the candle and I was like, okay, I think we're fine, whatever. And she was just like snapped out of it. Like it was like nothing happened. And I was like, you okay? And she's like, what happened? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I don't remember anything. And I was like, what? And she's like, I remember us starting to play the Ouija board and playing a little bit of it with C, but after that, I don't remember anything else. And I was like, what? And like in my mind, I was like, okay, she's messing with me. Like this is a prank. This is whatever. I don't really care. She's just being rude. Isabella was like, okay, stop messing around. Like you're freaking us out. Like knock it off. And she was like, I'm not kidding. Like I don't remember. And I was like, okay. like what do you say to that? And so I was just like, alright, well let's just go to bed. Like everyone's tired. This is weird. Like we're fine. We all just kind of play it off, finish the movie, go to bed. And like in the morning she was like, okay, I kind of remember stuff now and whatever. And she just didn't really talk about it. She was just like, okay, bye, like going home. Within the next month, you know, I kept hearing noises and stuff like that, but I was sleeping in my brother's room because I was hearing so many things in here. You know, yet again, it was like the middle of the night. I was on my phone. At the end of the bed where your feet are, he has like bars on his bed. And they're big enough to where I could put like my toes through, like just like that much, you know, like not even like that. And I could just put my toes through and like stick them around. And so I was putting my toes in there. Then I heard like a loud noise and I was like, okay, like it's my cat, it's C, it's like whatever, I'm leaving it alone, I'm not gonna think about it. And I like had my toe through the little bar, and then all of a sudden I just feel my toe being pulled through these bars, like grabbed really hard. And I was like, oh my god, Satan. But no, like I'm not even like as a joke, I'm not exaggerating. I literally felt a hand grab my toes and just pull me through this bar, and like we're trying to like pull me down. And I was like, oh my god. I immediately like pulled up my foot as fast as I could and just like crawled up into fetus position. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Like it's terrifying. Like these sound like, oh, you're making this up, this is funny, whatever, but like in the moment this is horrifying. Like when I told Nicole, she couldn't even sit in front of my house. We were in her car and she was like, I am not staying here. And I had to drive around with her and tell her this stuff. She like wouldn't stay near my house and she wouldn't go inside. It was scary. But like I felt that and I was like, oh my god. So I literally got up and I was like, I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. A while after that was just like hearing noises. I didn't play the Ouija board anymore. I haven't played it like since. You know, my TV, the TV would be off and then it'd like all of a sudden turn on in full volume in the middle of the night. And there was this one time, it was like midnight, 1 o'clock, and I was downstairs in my kitchen getting a glass of water, and I had my headphones in, watching YouTube, of course, and I heard running in my front room, like barefoot running, and I was like, okay, like, just ignore it, like, it's probably her, it's fine. Like, I had gotten so used to all these weird noises that I was just like, when I hear weird things, I was like, okay, it's just C, leave it alone. When I heard that, I basically just turned the volume up on my video, and then I started to hear this really weird, like, this is gonna sound insane, but I heard this weird, like, whispering, and it was like, oh my god, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like whispering, but like really loud, and I couldn't make out any of the words. It didn't even sound like English. It was just like, but like loud. And so I was like trying to ignore it, and I was turning up the volume on my phone to try and ignore it, and every time I turned up the volume it just got louder and louder and louder, and I was like, okay, it's part of the video. So I stopped the video, and as soon as I stopped the video, the thing just got louder and louder and louder and louder until it was like painful. It was like yelling, whispering in my ear, and then like in a split second it just went silent, and there was like one like half a second where the whole house is just dead silent, like eerily silent, and then my TV turned on full volume by itself, and it was like on some random channel, and it was like yelling loud. It was like horrible. And then I heard, as soon as it turned on, I heard like a mad dash down the hallway, and I was like, okay, this isn't okay, like this is weird. I was like so in shock that I was kind of just sitting there for a minute like, what is happening? Ugh, it was just weird. I went and turned it off right away, and it was just, ugh, I don't even know. Now that I've been like doing the candle more and whatever, it really hasn't, like I haven't heard from her in a while. I haven't talked to her on the board at all. I don't really hear noises as much anymore. It's very like died down. The last time I heard anything was when I was talking about her on the phone, and that was like 4 months ago or something, and I felt like, you know, I could like tell she was behind me. Like I was laying down on my bed facing the wall, and I could just tell she was there, and I thought I like felt her. And but other than that, I really haven't like heard from her. I haven't like seen her or anything like that. And I haven't played the Ouija board because I've been afraid to, because of this like new imposter guy. Like I don't know anything about them, and they don't tell anything, so I don't want to mess with them. But you know, the dumb me, I still get antiques all the time because I love antiques. So that's it for right now for this story of my ghost. If anything happens like huge and major, which I don't think will for a while, then I'll do a little update or something. But yeah, if you guys, since I got a little bit into antiques, if you guys want to see like an antique haul for one of my next videos, and I'll do that, because I was thinking of doing that just because, you know, I do these videos for me and like my 3 friends that I have. It's so popular. I just do this for me to look back at in the future and stuff, and so I thought it'd be really cool to do like a showing of all the antiques I have and stuff like that, just to see like where it's at now in my basically gallery of a room. My room's like, if I get any more antiques, because I don't have enough room for them, my room's basically just gonna be an antique gallery and not a place to sleep. Alright, well, I'll see you guys next time. Bye! That was so awkward, but I'm not doing it again, so we're keeping it. I'm cool. Me in my pajamas. BB. Didn't want to change, so don't need no devil in my house. I love how it's pink. Everyone makes fun of me for that, and like I half want like a legit like wooden Ouija board, but also like I don't need that bad juju in my house, you know what I mean? Like I'm planning on not using it anymore, maybe, question mark. Probably won't hold that up, but I don't know, because it's pink. But like I want like a real like handmade like from wood, because like the traditional ones, they were made from coffin pieces, and I'm really like, that intrigues me so much. I don't know why, but I really want one that's like legit made from like coffin wood, or like just wood in general. I just want a wooden Ouija board. I just think that'd be really cool. And they use like the nails for the planchette. I don't know. Anyways, that's just my twisted sick dream. Anyways, I know this is stupid, but I've been half hearing like weird noises while I'm filming this, and I'm just getting really paranoid like my dolls are moving or something. So bye. Okay, wow, like already a paranormal thing happened. Very small, but I've just set the Ouija board down. I can literally hear the planchette moving inside of it. Good times, good times. Putting this away before I die, so